Okay, so I've just finished with my snake hybrid vertebrae weight chart. Now I can start with properly figuring out how big they are relative to each other. A missive? Oh. Hi everyone! Yeah, I was minding my own business crafting the creatures of the Tapperverse when Baku released their video for a new competition. The Hybrid Battle Royale. Now, most of the rules are the same as any hybrid tournament. Be respectful, minimum 3 genomes, real species only, no human DNA, human enhancements, or AI art. There are some extra rules this time though. 1 submission, no group players this time, and it has to be made of multiple cells. That last one was a weird rule right up until I got to the genome rules. No mutations like gigantism or dwarfism, maximum of 12 species, and the kicker, a maximum of 100 grams. Now, just like with the Skybrid War, I'm going to use one of my snake hybrids, because I'd still like to keep this project moving. And if joining hybrid tournaments can help give me a direction to go in order to properly finalize my creatures, that's great. But yeah, watch episode 17 to get how I'm planning on assembling my creatures. I go into a little more detail on my own self-imposed rule. But since I have adjusted a bit of my thinking since then, I will be amending my own statement. My Skybrid submission was a joke submission, so the creatures were only barely put together. Now, I want to ensure that if the creature is made with exclusively real animals, rather than adding plants or making them fantastical elemental creatures, they need to be relatively functional. The best way I can describe it is that I want magic to be a walking stick rather than a crutch. Like, a person can absolutely climb a mountain without a walking stick. The stick just makes it easier. But if you've got a crutch, you probably can't go anywhere without it. Also, if I can manage it, I'd rather stay with combining animals that all come from the same location. If I can't, I'll just shrug and carry on. So let's see. My setup for the Royale. I haven't sized the things that aren't vertebrates yet, so I'll be sticking to the vertebrates. The smallest of the vertebrates I'm going to combine with snakes is the moles. There are 3 genera that go by mole snake: Pseudaspis, Lampropeltis, and Atractaspis. The last one is technically called mole vipers. Of these 3, 2 of them live in Africa, while the last is in the United States. The only moles in Africa are the golden moles, and there are 21 of them. And while I haven't checked all of them yet, they might all be too heavy. So I'll go with Lampropeltis and a suitable mole. While there are 26 species in this genus, only 2 of them bear the name of mole snake: Lampropeltis rhombomaculata and Lampropeltis occipitolineata. Now, when there are snakes in the same genus living in the same area, I'll usually merge them and average it out. However, when there isn't overlap, I will use just one. And the 2 do overlap a little. Honestly, which one I'm using doesn't matter all that much. The mole I'm using for this is the eastern mole, which lives in the same location as both of these, so it doesn't matter all that much. This is the creature of the Tapperverse. A tough nose for digging, tiny eyes, scale-covered ears, fur growing out from between the dorsal scales, snake scutes for mobility, and little spurs up where there would be shoulders that resemble a mole's claws. For the Tapperverse, this is where I'd stop. However, there are 3 issues with stopping here for the hybrid battle royale. Problem 1, it's too heavy. Even after averaging things out, it'll be 112.5 to 162.5 grams when fully grown. Problem 2, I'm at least 1 genome short. Problem 3, its entire way of fighting is to avoid fighting, by digging away from its problems, or in the case of the mole snake, rattling its tail around in dry leaves to try to mimic a rattlesnake. The first problem can be solved by just submitting a smaller individual. The presence of the eastern mole means I can drop its weight down to 75 grams. I did consider switching for the European mole, which is a little lighter and is venomous, but doing that left me feeling weird. So nah, I'll stick to the eastern. Both of the other 2 problems can be solved with just 1 more genome. No, I'm not using the northern short-tailed shrew. There's actually an entire subfamily of red-toothed shrews called Saricinae. And because this one isn't present in the Tapperverse version, I don't have to stick to the American species. Therefore, the final genome I shall be adding is the extinct Asoricula's gibberdon. He doesn't seem to have a common name. However, I will be adding him for the main reasons everyone uses the northern short-tailed shrew: the iron-coated teeth, and the constant adrenaline state, making it way more likely to actually decide to attack things to meet its caloric needs. I considered adding the vampire bat. When I'd had exclusively terrestrial creatures up until this point, I got worried about congruity, so I scrapped it. It's a 3-ingredient cookie. It's fine. I almost left him like this. Then the 3rd Q&A post was dropped, and one of the questions that got answered, that no hybrid may demonstrate the potential to surpass the 100-gram max at any stage. So this left my submit a smaller individual plan a little wobbly. Then I realized something. I might have a solution already to hand. See, the way I got my initial averaging out number was by adding together the 2 weights of my, at the time, 2 genomes, and then dividing the resulting numbers by 2. And that was my final weight. Well, what if I added my 3rd genome and divided the resulting number by 3? And that saved it. Asoricula's gibberdon only weighed about 8 grams, almost 9 grams. So that meant it wasn't adding much to the combined weight, and then upon the averaging divide happening, it took away far more. The resulting number was below the range, which actually gave me a fun bit of synergy or something, where all of my problems with submitting my snake mole to the Battle Royale were solved with 1 last genome. Meet Cuniculus Clamor, whose name translates to the Tunneling Screamer. His nickname is Ronka. He may be smaller and lighter than the snake moles of the Tapperverse, but he hopes to become the king of Zone B. Or die trying. I don't know what's going to happen.